call upon our another guest for today. Now, personalized classroom education. We have this presentation from Mr. Sameer. We will look forward.
The dais and ladies and gentlemen who are attending this conference. How much time on average do you think a teacher spends dictating homework at the end of a class? There's a lot of teachers and educators here. How much time do you think in a day, at the end of the class? A couple of minutes, 5 minutes? Think about all the time that goes into doing this activity, which can easily be automated. And add to that the time they actually spend evaluating once the homework comes back. And how many of us here, teachers, can actually say, after a concept is taught in class, we know exactly how many students have understood this concept or not? Differentiated learning is a way to address these concerns that teachers and students are going through. Differentiated learning helps teachers identify the needs of a student in the classroom itself and then address those needs based on their learning styles and learning levels and continuously track their progress. Today, I want to take this opportunity to actually look at the challenges that classrooms have today and what are the learning processes that we still follow and what is actually required for the 21st century skills that we talk about and how learning platforms can deliver those skills and help teachers become enablers here. And with these features and functionalities, we talk about what are the benefits not only for teachers and students, but the other stakeholders in the learning process, is the parents and the schools themselves. We then talk about our company and what we stand for and how we can help. If you look at it, today teachers have unprecedented access to technology in the classrooms. We have these interactive whiteboards which are there in almost every school, every classroom. You have loads of educational videos which are available free online. You even have digital encyclopedias all put into a CD that can be accessed from a computer in your libraries. And to top it all off, any question under the sun can be put into any of these search engines such as Google or Bing, and you get the answers. But if you actually ask a teacher if any of this information really helps them gauge the levels of learning, it's a big no. And that is exactly what a recent survey that was done came out. Overwhelmingly, 57% of teachers actually said, and this is done in India, 57% of teachers actually said that technology today in the classrooms do not help them gauge the learning levels or grade their students. And this is not a phenomenon only for India. 48% in the US actually say that the technology they have in their classrooms are outdated and do not help them here as well. Now, if you think about it, even today, with all this technology we talk about, teachers have only two ways in which they can identify learning gaps. One, after a concept is taught, ask a couple of students a few questions. And second, look at their performance in tests and exams, which happen once a quarter, once a month. Now, both of these, you would agree, defeats the purpose of helping the student at the right time. The first one, clearly the teacher cannot ask every student because there's limited time. No matter how small your classroom size is, you cannot reach all these students. And you cannot understand if they've really grasped the concept or not. And the second, it's too late into the learning process. Whatever learning gap was there has probably built up. The teacher has moved on to another topic, and the learning gaps have exacerbated here. Now, clearly, technology is failing us here because we have all this information that is being given to the student, but the teacher doesn't know if this information has been grasped or not. There was a recent in 2015, the World Economic Forum came up with a new initiative called the New Vision of Education. And as part of that, they came out with a report which talked about what is the technology that is required in the 21st century. They went on to say that to meet the 21st century skills, what we really need is a closed-loop instructional system. Now, the components of the closed loop is very simple elements. One is creating the learning objectives, designing curricula and instructional strategies based on these learning objectives, delivering instructions catered to those strategies and curricula, and embedding ongoing assessments as part of the instructional approach. And using that, providing appropriate intervention when they need it. And finally, tracking outcomes and learning that happens in the classroom. Now, if you really take a step back and look at these 6 elements, a teacher in theory can provide all of this in the classroom. But even the report actually goes on to say that that's really impractical. And technology is the way to which you can achieve this closed loop very effectively, because it saves teachers time and they can focus on what's more important. Now, let's take a look at what is technology there today in the classrooms that address any of these components. There's only one area that we all focus on, and that's delivering instructions. The interactive whiteboards, all the other stuff that we talked about, gives good information to the students. But none of the other elements are really addressed. And that's what we want to change. With learning platforms of tomorrow, we can, in effect, improve the learning process, and this would lead to higher achievements. Why do we say this? Because the cost of computing is going down. Chromebooks, netbooks, tablets, the accessibility is increasing. And with that, connectivity is improving as well. We have 4G connections, affordable broadband, and this is coming down by the day, resulting in industry focusing on cloud solutions, which means schools do not have to invest significantly in infrastructure. And with this, what happens is we create a personalized learning environment. And with personalized learning environment, higher achievement is not far behind. Why do we say this? Because learning platforms like these actually empower teachers to address the learning gaps in the classroom itself. And once the learning gaps are identified, you can distribute content based on those learning levels that a child has. As you can see, the existing pedagogy doesn't have to change. The way you teach continues to remain the same. But what really changes is the teacher and the student are connected through a learning platform on the cloud. So let's take this example where a teacher explains a concept in class. And instead of asking a couple of students a few questions, you put up a quick 5-minute quiz in the classroom if required, or put up a 5-question homework for later work. But what it does is, as the students start answering these questions, the teacher, before the next class begins, knows exactly what the learning levels are. What do they need to focus on? Do they need to reinforce the entire concept? Or can they give customized content to a certain set of students who need help? And students will be more engaged because they're getting content catered to their learning styles and learning levels. And because this is all in a system, parents are engaged in the learning process because they know when to intervene. They don't have to wait for an exam to happen. Homework can be the assessment that we talk about. And it can all be made simple through learning platforms. But the key test is, we talked about the closed loop. We need to see if all these features and benefits really add and help in that closed loop. We already talked about interactive whiteboards for delivering instructions. The homework assessments, the worksheets, all that can be the ongoing assessments that need to be embedded in the instructional system. You don't need to add more tests or exams. In fact, this should be second nature. The word assessment here implies if we can identify and evaluate the learning levels of children, and that can be done through learning platforms. And once that is identified, teachers can easily distribute content. You can pass on even live comments so that you can help the student when they need it. And continuous tracking can be done, because now there'll be real-time dashboards that they'll tell the teacher where the student is, how are they performing, and give automated reports to parents to let them know what's happening in school, saving the teacher tons of time. The analytics can even help teachers design and further develop the curricula, because it will tell them what are the kind of content that really works with students and what does not. At the end of the day, the teacher is left with one very important task, which cannot be replaced by a computer. It is creating that learning objective and facilitating the entire learning process, because that is where they can add the most value. Now, the benefits of this is not only for teachers and students. For teachers, obviously, it helps them identify the learning levels of students. But more importantly, they can now spend less time on the administrative work, but more time on developing learning strategies for children. For students, it means there's no more lost or misplaced homework. And they can understand their strengths and areas of improvement. It also instills in them this habit of self-learning, which puts them on the path for lifelong learning. For schools, this means zero infrastructure spending, because it's all cloud-based solutions. You can build a knowledge repository which can be used by students and teachers of today and tomorrow. And you create a collaborative environment for working between your teachers, where they start sharing best practices and questions and content. For parents, you actually increase their involvement. They know when to help and what to help with, and how to help, for that matter. Learning styles can be assessed and communicated to parents early on. Our vision here is to actually equip educators with technology solutions that permit them to provide that individual attention for every student, unlocking their true potential. We have an exhibition stall at number 11. We are a company that's based in Bangalore and Chennai. We are a part of a bigger group called JMR, which has 25 offices across the globe, serving over 120 satisfied customers in 5 different continents. We look forward, at Learnon, we focus only on education technology. And we look forward to meeting you at our exhibition counter there. Thank you.